Hey, I'm Andrew. Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up the Gen 3 Starlink. We've got the new dish and the new router and a few other accessories, and we're going to be replacing the Gen 2 setup that I have already. Now, as you can see, this is the dish. I've already taken off the little tabs on the side. Just tear these off in 3 places and open it up. We have our dish. And under here we have our how-to guide, we have our router, there is a cable here which I've taken out to see if it was a good size, but it wasn't, so I had to get a different one. Then we have our power pack and power cable. Also, this is the additional cable, the much longer 40-meter cable, which I think is about 70-foot or 75-foot cable if you're in America. So I'm going to be using this cable instead of the short one provided. I've also got this pole adapter. Now this is going to attach to the back of the Starlink, and then I'll be able to mount it on the pole that I already have on the roof that's currently holding my Gen 2 dish. So the Gen 2 has a different mount at the back, so you'll need to get the Gen 3 mount if you're replacing a Gen 2 or Gen 1 setup. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is to get the kickstand off the back. See, the instructions tell you to just slide it out, but it's not that easy. I had quite a few struggles doing this, and it feels like you're going to break it. And in fact, if you pull up too much pressure here, you will snap this. Okay, so the best way to do this is to push down, 2 fingers under here, lift at the bottom, and then it'll just slide downwards. Okay, and it will come off. Alright, that looked relatively easy, but it took me a couple of goes to get it right. So make sure you don't pull up too much because the stand gets caught underneath. It's just a slight lift and then pull down in a slight upwards arc, but not too much. So once we've done that, we can now install the pole mount. So I'm not going to do this right now because I will do this on the roof and show you how it goes in. The first thing I need to do is to attach the Ethernet cable. It will plug into the port here on the back of the dish. So here's a better view of the port that we need to plug into. But the cable has to be in the port first and then run back under the pole adapter before you put the mount on the dish. It all fits snugly with the cable run through the provided gaps under the bracket. So now we're just going to head up to the roof of the cottage and start the installation. Okay, so here we are on the roof. So you can see I've got my Gen 2 dish here, and we need to obviously replace that with our new dish, and that'll feed all of the other areas of the property. So we have the barn down there, the venue, and that has a fibre link to it. And we've also have a main house over here, which you can just see. That house is also, it's actually got a Cat 5 running between here and the main house. We're going to be replacing that with fibre shortly. And then way down the front, which you can't really see, there's a front gate. And we're also running fibre there very shortly to link up to put a gate access unit in. So make sure you subscribe and you'll be able to see all of those setups as well. Okay, so with this setup, it's quite simple, these mounts. They're literally just got Allen keys. I don't know if you can see that, but they're little Allen key mounts. You just need to unscrew those. It'll all pop off, but I'll show you that as we go through. So the tools you need for this type of installation, it does come with Allen keys, so you don't specifically have to have them, but an Allen key set is always handy just in case the one that you get doesn't work very well. A couple of cable ties, obviously, just to tidy things up. And I'm going to be using a bit of duct tape attached to the end of this cable with my new cable, and I'm going to be pulling that through so I don't have to rerun it and get into this roof on a really hot day. It's about 35 degrees at the moment. It's really hot up here on the roof. That's about 95 Fahrenheit, I think. So we want to try and get this done as quickly as possible. All right, so let's get started. It's a bit of a mess up here, I know. Leave some comments down below if you tell me how messy it is. I know you probably will. It will be tidied up one day. All right, so let's get this in. Okay, Gen 2 dish. Long cable. Just going to put those together and we will then pull them through from the other side. So we'll head out to the other side once I've got that set up. Okay, so here we are at the side of the cottage. We've got a conduit coming down here for the Starlink, and there's a hole behind the ivy up there that I'm going to be pulling the little cable through. We'll be feeding it down that conduit and back into where the router is on the other side of the wall there. So let's get started. Really happy this doesn't disconnect. I really do not want to get up on that roof today. It's like 60 degrees Celsius in there. Phew. Got it. Okay, so it's a new cable. All right. Okay, so luckily I had gravity on my side. I didn't need to tape it up again. It would just feed down by itself without the tape on it. So you have it here. I'm now just going to feed it back into the house, and then we'll go inside and set it up in there. Okay, cable is through to the cottage. Now this is just a temporary machine cabinet. It's a bit of a rat's nest at the moment, but it's about to get cleaned up. Running Ubiquiti gear. I've got a Dream Machine UDM-SE there, plus my NVR, and I have also a 10 gigabyte aggregation switch, which I will be putting in shortly, and I'll do a video on that as well, obviously, so I can link up all of my areas: the main house, the stables or the barn, and the front gate. Will all link back to here with fibre, and I should have 10 gigabytes there, and I can also put in a NAS up here, so I can have 10 gigabytes on the local network. That's still to come. So next step, we've removed the old router here. We're going to install the new router. So we'll do that next. Okay. Actually, we won't do that next. We'll go back onto the roof and put the satellite dish in place, and then we will then do the router. Okay, back on the roof. We're now going to install the new dish. Okay, I'm hoping you can see this okay. First step, we need to put the Ethernet cable into its spot. Then we take a new mount. Like so. It's a little bit of growling to get it in, but that does go in eventually. All right, so that's in place. You can see that these screws here will attach to my pole, so it'll fit a multitude of pole sizes. Ours is around about, I'd say, 30 mil. So that's going to be, or maybe 40 mil. That's going to fit nicely. All right, let's mount it. Hopefully that's set up okay for you guys to be able to see this. Essentially, all we're going to be doing is installing it, and I'm going to guess the direction. There is a, with this type of dish, it doesn't auto maneuver itself like the Gen 2 did. So this one, you put it into place approximately the Gen 2 was, and SpaceX at southeast for us, the southern hemisphere. And there is a directional thing on an app. Once I plugged it into the router, it'll tell me if I need to align it, and I can just unscrew these slightly and then give it an adjustment. Okay. So it's good to go. Okay, let's go configure the router and see if we've got the setup right before I make everything tidy. Okay, back inside. So what we're going to do, we're obviously removing this Gen 2 router, and with the Ethernet, if you're actually going to be running this as a bypass or a bridge to your, if you've got your own router like I have, I've got a UDM-SE. With the old router, they had this Ethernet adapter, which the cable from the roof went into here, and your cable from your router goes into here, and then you configure it in bypass mode. With the new Gen 3 router, we've got power in the back, cable for your roof connector, which is your Ethernet from the dish, I should say. Then under here, we have 2 other Ethernet ports, which is fantastic. So if you've got only this router and you can plug in, you know, I don't know, a NAS or some other device. Or here I can also plug in a NAS if I wanted to, but I can use one of these to plug into my UDM-SE as well. So it's all natively on board, which is a lot better. So very straightforward. We're going to plug in the power. Actually, first of all, I think we'll plug in the dish. I'll tidy all this up later, just doing it on here so it's easy for you to see. So our Ethernet goes into our dish. So it's got a little satellite dish here. And then plug in your power. And we are now, you can see that, powered on. All right. So I'll let that power up, and then I'm going to start recording my screen and we'll set it up on the app. Okay, so here we are back on the roof. So the dish, I've actually put it in a pretty good position. I'll show you on the app what I've got to do. It's slightly off. So all I'm going to be doing is loosening these screws here and giving it a slight twist to align it up. So I'll switch to the app and you'll be able to see what I mean. Okay, so before I can show you on the app the alignment of the dish, we first have to set up the router, which in turn allows you to also set up the dish. So you can see on the documentation that comes with the kit, the top left corner is a QR code. And this is the QR code that you can obviously scan with your phone and bring up the website. Otherwise, you can go to setup.starlink.com. And this will open the Starlink app on your phone if you have it installed, so that you can continue to follow the steps to set up your router and your dish. So I'll start my screen recording now and we can go through this together. Okay, so just scan the QR code and it'll bring the app up. Now we've got a few options here where we can select our the type of installation we have. So I'm going to click standard because we have a standard installation. I already know I have a clear view of the sky, so I don't need to check for obstruction, so I can just click I've got a clear view. Now I've got the pipe adapter, it's already installed, so I don't need to watch an instruction video. So I'm just going to click mount as installed. And now it's asking me to plug in my Starlink, which I have done, so I can say my Starlink is plugged in. You're now going to be taken to your settings, because when you first plug in your Starlink router, you'll be able to click on the Starlink Wi-Fi and connect to the Wi-Fi to continue the setup. Okay, so once you're connected to the Wi-Fi, you can now continue the setup, and you can see that I'm now connected, and it's going to do through a process of calculating the orientation, and this can take a few minutes to complete. And once it's done that, the app will let you know whether your dish is aligned correctly or not. So it looks like mine is aligned, no adjustment necessary for best performance. So we'll have a look at that and just see exactly how it's connected shortly. So we're connected now. I might just do a speed test to see where the speed's running at. So again, some pretty good downloads at the moment. This is great. So it's completed with 262 down and about 17 up. Alright, so now it's doing a software update as well, so that'll take a little while to run. While the update's running, you can see there's a number of other settings here. There's a bypass mode, which I'm going to be configuring this router for once we've finished the setup, and that'll allow for my for the Starlink router to actually become a bridge, so I can plug that into my Unified Dream Machine SE, which will then become the main router. And now I'm going to click on alignment here, and you can see that my dish it says it's aligned correctly and no adjustment needed, but my OCD does not like the fact that it's sitting not quite in that rectangle. So I will go and adjust that once we've finished the setup here, and I'll show you how that can be adjusted. So while we're waiting for the download to complete of the software update, I might just configure the Wi-Fi so I can show you how you can do that. So you'll just select a network name or an SSID. I'm just choosing Galbraith Starlink, which is just the name of our farm, just as an example here. And then you can obviously select the password. And once you've done that, just hit submit, and it will then start applying all the settings. And this could take about a minute or so. I'll just speed this up a bit. And once it's complete, you'll just have to confirm the details, and it'll want to connect to that network you've just created. And once it's joined, we'll be back at the main screen, and we've still downloading that update, so we'll just let that complete, and then we'll continue. Okay, so the update's about to complete, and it will then apply itself, and then we just click install now. And it is now booting, and it will go through a boot up sequence where it checking the alignment again, searching for satellites, as you can see, entering the network, optimizing the connection, checking the orientation again, and then we should be connected to Starlink any moment. So now we're connected to Starlink. All right. So next step, I will show you how that alignment works. Actually, before we do the alignment, I just want to set this into bypass mode, the router. So you click on settings and go to router, and you can see bypass mode. Just click on bypass mode, and this will completely disable the built-in Starlink Wi-Fi. So this is if you have your own router and you want to use the Starlink as a bridge, which I do. I have the Ubiquiti Dream Machine SE. So just slide that bar across and click OK when you're ready. And I obviously have my own access points and configured the Wi-Fi through my Dream Machine SE, and I will be connecting to that, so I only need the Starlink as a bridge. Okay, so once the router's in bypass mode, we also have to plug in the cable from your router into the Starlink router. All right, so I've got a cable running from my UDM-SE, which I'm now plugging into one of the Ethernet ports on the back of the Starlink router, so that now when it's in bridge mode or bypass mode, everything will work. So once the router is restarted, it's back online, we can then just go into our Wi-Fi settings and connect to your own Wi-Fi network, which I'll do now. And I'll just test the link by going to a website, maybe apple.com, and see if that works. And which you can see it does, pop straight up. Okay, so let's pop back into the Starlink app, and I'll show you the alignment. Now you can see that it's not quite aligned in that rectangle, and my OCD really wants it to be in that rectangle. So as I move the dish, you can see it's actually updating in real time. And I guess the idea is to get it as close as you can into that rectangle. I didn't have to move the dish because it said it was aligned okay. But like I said, my OCD just really wanted me to do it, and also wanted to show you how the adjustments are shown in real time on the app when you're doing this. So that's pretty well lined up, and you can also rotate the dish in the app so you can check that it is aligned up from all directions, not just face down but from the side as well, so you get the optimal angle. And that completes the setup. Okay, so now that we've set up our Starlink dish and our Starlink router, including putting the router into bypass mode, I'm now ready to plug in my new router. So in your case, you might have a new router you need to set up. It's always a good idea to have the internet link active and your Starlink router in bypass mode ready to go, so that when you install your new router and run its setup wizard or whatever you're running, it will find the internet and be able to do any updates or any DNS lookups, etc. it needs to do as part of its setup. Okay, so in my case, I've got a Ubiquiti Networks UDM-SE is my main router, which you can see here. Now, simply to configure this, I've already done this, of course, but as part of its install setup, it will find my Starlink network, and it will set up the internet connection, all right, which it's already done for me here. Set up in my primary WAN and given me an IP address, and everything is up and running. Okay, so it's a very simple process, and obviously follow your own router instructions if you're having difficulty with that. Okay, with my Ubiquiti network, this router, I can configure any device on my unified network, and I'll definitely be doing other YouTube videos on, or other videos on Ubiquiti gear. I'm a network enthusiast, and I'll definitely be doing a lot of CCTV camera or security camera installations, as well as other Ubiquiti equipment. So subscribe if you want to see those in the future. Alrighty, look, so that pretty much completes this video. Thanks so much if you've stayed this long to the video. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for staying this long. If you found anything helpful in this video at all, I'd really appreciate a like, and you'd really make my day if you were to subscribe to the channel. If this sort of content is what you're after, we'll be doing a lot of farm content as well, a lot of Ubiquiti network camera type of stuff. I'll be running a lot of fiber cables and doing some automated gate systems with Ubiquiti gear. I'll be doing reviews on mowers and chainsaws and how-to videos on, different farm activities. So if any of that's of interest, please subscribe. Alrighty, thanks for watching.